Hey fam, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Real Housewives of Salt Lake City recap. This is season 6, episode 12, First Amendment Rights and Wrongs. Do me a favor, like, hype, and subscribe. So we begin this episode with Brawwyn still playing dress up as she picks up Todd from the airport wearing this sloth costume. I personally don't understand why she continues to do this, especially because he never really seems that excited to see her in those outfits. Now, she says that she's still a little upset and bothered about him looking at other ladies on the airplane, but they're going to continue to be married and they're going to make it work. So she lets him know that she did not listen to him when he told her to stay out of all the airplane drama. That she went back, my words, and she ran her mouth to Meredith about Whitney. And now because of that, Whitney isn't going to trust her. I don't think anyone should trust her. And I'm not talking about her family, but I'm talking about on this show, because her need for acceptance has her, in my mind, kind of flip-flopping in between people. There are instances we've seen where she shows up one way in front of one group and then another way in front of another. And I don't like that. Like, be who you are. If you feel a way about something, say it in that moment. Don't wait till after the fact when you're no longer in that person's face to then say something about it. But we'll get to it. So Todd suggests that they all need to sit down and apologize because all of them have said and done things to each other. And Brawwyn's like, you know what, you're right. And the best place for us to do that is going to be at my party where I'm celebrating becoming a citizen. We'll get into it. So next we see that Justin and Whitney aren't doing well. What we find out is that Whitney has been holding on to something major in terms of the whole stuff with her business, which is that Justin is part of the reason why her business flopped. Now, she says that she basically, I guess, was reminded of this because she saw a substantial amount of money being removed out of their account to pay one of their vendors because Justin is making payments to make it right, which makes me feel like they owe a lot of people money. So from what she's saying, it sounds like she allowed Justin to convince her to take her brand, Wild Rose Beauty, and merge it into what she's calling a new entity, which has something to do with an MLM based on what she's saying. Because she even says, I wanted to get you out of the MLMs. But it ended up being a bad decision, and now she wants out. She says, I'm fighting to get my name off of it, to remove me as an owner, and to get back my biggest asset, which is Wild Rose Beauty, the name, the brand, and the inventory. To make matters worse, we find out that according to her, right before the merger, she was approached by the buyer of Sephora. And that person was in talks with her about getting her product in their stores, which could have meant that she would have had her dream being in Sephora. And she said that other store that I don't, shop at, and, some other places. So she's mad at herself. I personally feel like if you wanted him out of MLMs, I don't understand why you would then team up with something that has to do with MLMs. Anyways, so she says, you guys flash numbers in front of me and I just felt like I had no other choice. And she begins to cry as she says, I did it because of you, because I trust you. And this is the first time I felt like you really believed in my business and that you believed that it could go to the next level if we did it your way. And I'm hearing her talk and I just feel like that this is sad because she did believe in him and she did seem to get excited because he was against it. We saw how he didn't want to put their money into that business, where he was not on board when she first started talking about this. So to finally have him on board and having them work together must have felt great for the both of them. So she thought that this thing could turn her business into like $1 million, billion-dollar company. And now because they've made that decision, because she decided to trust him, it has affected their marriage. I think it takes a lot of courage to be an entrepreneur. And it seems to me like she finally reached a point where things were going good. So that has to be a little devastating that it turned out this way. She says, in the beginning, when it was all crumbling, it did bring Justin and I closer, but now I don't know what I need, and it's affected my marriage because I'm just kind of there. So I'm picking that she's just going through the motions. Now, he apologized, saying that he could feel some of the resentment coming from her. And I just feel like at points, maybe they've both resented each other in this marriage, because isn't she part of the reason why he lost his job in the first place? Because there was a period of time when with this first season, where he got fired, and maybe he resents her as well. So I think that they both need to work on things. He says that he did make mistakes and he's sorry. And even though he was apprehensive in the beginning, he did believe in her. He always thought that the company was going to be successful. I don't know if I really believe that based on what we saw on camera, but okay, Justin. Whitney says, other than him and the kids, the business was her everything, and now it's gone. I can appreciate Whitney's honesty as well as Justin's in this moment, because I cannot begin to imagine what her missing out on her dream feels like. I mean, I personally feel like she can get it back. She can build this thing up. Maybe it will be a thing where she has to change the name, but I think she got her name back in September on IG. I think I saw something like that. But anyway, I look at this channel, right? And here I am with over 3,000 family members on the channel, and I don't even get paid a lot. There's some months where I don't get paid at all from this, because you got to make at least $100 to get paid. And I personally would feel so hurt if I lost this channel. So I look at it and the amount of people that she had working under her, because she had a team. Wasn't it like 30 people working with her? And to then see her dream coming to life, and to get to the point where she feels like she could have been in stores. And I just couldn't imagine what that would feel like. She probably is devastated. She probably has experienced, some hurt and a lot of nights where she cries. I just hope that she tries again, because this doesn't have to be the end. Just go at it with a different financial advisor, because I don't even know if that's what Justin is. Talk to someone who's actually done this and been successful. Don't seek your husband's help. And I know that sounds bad, but it's clear that the two of them, in my mind, aren't meant to do business together as of yet. So let's go to Heather. Heather is in her youngest daughter's room celebrating her child's acceptance into, I believe it was the University of Tampa. I hope I'm saying it right. I meant to look up to see if it was the University of Tampa or Tampa University. Either way, she's going to a university in Tampa, and her other daughter that is at a university in Miami is helping her to decorate this room. So there's lots of red and white and black balloons and streamers and little puffs and memorabilia and things of that nature. And Heather can't help but be proud, because first she had one daughter that already, went to Florida and has been a great success and has turned into this amazing young lady. And now here she is with yet another child who is going to be out of the home. And for her, this is her last child. So it's a major milestone, because before it was just her and her girls. And now she has these kids that are out of the house and are making their own lives. And as I was watching, I was like, boy, oh boy, I can really, really relate to this. I know that feeling all too well. My son is local now, but there is something so exciting about seeing your children grow up and turn into these great, amazing individuals that make their own mark in their own way. And I think that's what Heather is beginning to see. So even though she felt like at points people were coming down on her because she was eager to get her kids out and she was actually feeling relieved, I can kind of relate to that relief, because there's all these other things that could get in the way of your kids not being successful, whether you're a single parent or not. And here she is as a single parent, and she got it done. So her daughter comes in and she absolutely loves the room. She's hugging her mom and her sister, and she's taking pictures, and it's just a cute moment. Okay, so we go from that to Brawwyn. Who knew that mailing off pride flags would give us such a sweet moment with Brawwyn and her mother? So Brawwyn lets us know that there is now a law in Utah that is banning pride flags on government buildings. So Brawwyn, who supports the community, was really upset by that and decided to make an announcement. If there are any local businesses or organizations that don't mind rocking that flag, to let her know, and she will make sure that she sends them one. So I guess they don't have Amazon, Spencer's, or Hot Topic, because the fastest way to get her hand on one of them flags is at the sex shop. So we see a flashback, and to my shock, her mom is with her. Muzzy is there. So it's clear that Muzzy is outside of her comfort zone, because she doesn't even want her to say like the word penis and stuff, but she is willing to support her daughter. And I think that that's awesome. Bronwyn knows that this is a big deal, especially because she says this is not how her mother feels politically, meaning that her mom may not agree with this, right? But her mom just wants to help her, because at this point, she's not as concerned about what others think. While Bronwyn admits that she's constantly concerned, not just about what her mother thinks, but what others think as well. And her mother's like, I wish you would stop doing that. She's like, look, Bronwyn, you've been a great mom for Gwen, and that Gwen gets her well-roundedness from you. And you need to be proud of that. And you could tell that Bronwyn is just taking it all in, and she's feeling good by hearing her mother compliment her, especially about her parenting. She then tells her daughter, she's like, Bronwyn, I'm proud of you. And Bronwyn is immediately teary-eyed, because this is what Bronwyn has been waiting for. Bronwyn has struggled with feeling accepted from her mother. And in that moment, her mother gave her what she needed. I think there was a point where her mom was like, it was hard for her to be the type of parent that Bronwyn sometimes wants, because, her mom knew that her parents loved her, even though they didn't say it. And I could very much so relate to that, because I've already said it before on this channel. Growing up, I did not come from an overly affectionate household. Saying I love you wasn't a thing. I tried to say it to my dad, and I got a ditto or a you too. It wasn't until therapy and a lot of conversations that he now says it. So it takes work, right? So it means a lot to her mom. And her what did I say? I said you could tell in this moment how much it meant to Bronwyn. It's us seeing Muzzy trying to break some generational things. And I think that it's great. Of course, it doesn't last long, because she's quick to let Bronwyn know that she messed up the line of the address and things like that. But it was a cute moment. So we go from that teary-eyed moment to Angie stepping out of her car onto an empty loading dock holding a flag. All right. And it's not a Greek flag. It was an American one. So this is for Bronwyn's Boston spilling the tea party to celebrate her getting her U.S. citizenship. The ladies are in their finest colonial attire. Heather says Hamilton style. We see Brittany, Heather, and I put Meredith, but we know Meredith. We know Meredith wanted that car. Brittany, Heather, and Whitney is who I should have said. They're all traveling together. Lisa and Meredith are traveling together. Brittany lets them know that she and Meredith did meet up at the park, that they will not be friends, but there is going to be respect here on forward. And there was an apology. Whitney isn't feeling it, because she feels like for this whole duration of time that, Meredith has tried to act like they're liars, and Meredith still hasn't owned up to anything. But Whitney, in this moment, it's not for you to accept. If Brittany accepts it, so be it. So Lisa and Meredith arrive. We already knew that Lisa wasn't going to be that dressed up. I feel like a lot of times she's a party pooper and she's not going to do theme. But Mary's outfit wasn't that far off from Lisa, so I can't throw Lisa too much shade in that. Mary is late. The loading door opens and out pops Bronwyn and her founding father's wigs, because she has a bunch of powder white wigs to hand out to the ladies to wear with their already, worn attire. So Braun explains that the party is, in celebration of that and, all these other things. And what they're going to do is they're going to spill all of the tea on their remaining issues that they have with each other so that they can start fresh and move forward. Mary arrives while the other ladies are already in the other section of the warehouse that has been decorated nicely. Braun did a good job. And she surprisingly puts on a wig, but it's not one of the ones on the table, because she's looking at what's left, and she's like, oh no, 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 oh no, 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 but I have my own. And she puts her little fancy hat on. I was like, only Mary. So the ladies are eating, and Marion was walking up, and she's like, I'm surprised hot dogs are being served. Aren't hot dogs BC? And I was like, what? Out of all things, we're going to talk about the hot dogs? Mary, that leather coat you were wearing didn't exist back then either, I'm sure. So we see the ladies get questioned about U.S. history, and Bronwyn knows more than the ladies. No shocker to me. I remember when we were preparing my mother to take her citizenship test, her citizenship test. And I remember sitting in a room with her and some of her friends, a lot of which are also non-American. But the ones who were American, they knew less answers than the non-American ones. Yeah, it was, I was weak off of it. Brittany claims to have been her school salutatorian with a 4.2 GPA, and she can't even remember. Crazy how times have changed, because a 4.2 did not equate to a salutatorian at my son's school. My son had a 4.2, and I don't even think he was in the top 50. That's how many kids had higher than a 4.0 GPA. I think that's amazingly great. Anyways, back to this. So the ladies are supposed to write down their issues and then talk about it and throw it into the water, the fake water that they've designed in this warehouse. We already know that this type of stuff never goes well, and I just can't help but feel like production asked Bronwyn to do this. So they spill the tea. Angie admits to doubting Lisa's claim that she bought a horse, and we see a flashback of this conversation that apparently happened on the trip. A lot happened on the trip that we didn't see, apparently. Angie finds it hard to believe because Lisa brags about, everything that she owns, and Lisa's like, look, I own a horse. It's not anything grand. It's just for me. It's my horse, and I'm going to get a second one. It's this competition that goes on between Angie and Lisa sometimes that I don't get. You're clearly in two different arenas. I don't know. I think it's safe to say, based on her home, that Angie has more money than Lisa, and things don't equate to money. You know what I've realized? At least the people that I know who have a lot of money, they don't flex. You don't see their money until you go into their homes. And even then, it's modest because they're not telling you. You just know if you know. But let me keep going. So Angie is trying to figure out what Lisa would even do with one horse, let alone two. Like, are you riding it? Like, what are you doing? And Angie's like, you know what? I'm just let it go. And she ends up tossing her tea into the fake waters. So Brittany says, like, I don't really have any tea. I just want to know who spilled mine. We already know that this got to deal with Jared, and we already know that it was Whitney via Justin. So she's mad that someone told Jared about how she was flirting all over with the crew on the yacht, and supposedly that she kissed the person. And no one said that, and none of the ladies care about it. They're like, oh, Jared. Like, all of them are so over it, because that's all Whitney talks about. Whitney says, we didn't say that, anything about kissing. You made that one up. Like, we didn't say anything about you making up with that. So Brittany's like, I guess I'm going to have to take that as an apology. She didn't apologize. That wasn't an apology. And for real, you're not even supposed to be talking to Jared. So what does it matter? She's like, because of that information, we broke up. But y'all were already supposed to be on a 30-day break. So I thought y'all were already broken up. Brittany, focus on your kid. This once again makes me feel like last week that counseling session was all about the show and convenience rather than you really trying to work through things. So Heather says that she's going to promise to stop talking about the rumor, and she looks at Bronwyn, the rumor about Todd making out and him passing gas, basically his infidelity. Bronwyn's like, yeah, thanks, because she don't like that. I feel like there was so much more that Heather could have spoken about, but this is what we're going with. Got it. So Bronwyn apologizes for snitching on Whitney to Meredith in an effort of being a good friend. But I don't really feel like she's really sorry for it, because she then kind of, when Whitney says something, she then kind of is like, well, you know, that's between you and her. Whitney says, you laughed when I said it. Why didn't you stop me mid-conversation. And I agree with Whitney. She did chuckle, but this goes back to the fact that Braun wants to be accepted by everyone. She wanted to be accepted by you in that moment, and she knew that this was going to play back on TV, so she wanted Meredith to know that she had Meredith's back too. It's okay for you to play the middle and actually be neutral. You should have said in that moment, like, Whitney, I feel like you shouldn't say that. I'm going to have to let Meredith know or something, but Braun didn't do any of that. So Whitney says that was a private conversation. I was not about, so she's like, why you didn't call her? She's like, I wasn't about to call that lady when she was belligerent. I wasn't about to call that belligerent woman after that. So now Meredith and Whitney get into it again over what did or didn't happen on the plane. And Meredith is still acting like she didn't do anything. And Meredith keeps calling her a liar. Whitney points out that she's not the only person who said this. But in this moment, everybody's watching and no one's chiming in. So Whitney's like, you keep gaslighting me and not taking accountability. And I feel like at this point, the gloves are off. So she says, Meredith, since you want to go there, you're an alcoholic and a pill popper. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Stop with these accusations, Whitney. It's damning. It's damaging. It's defamation if you're not careful. So this is going on, and Mary is asking for more alcohol. I said, Mary is not taking any of this seriously. So she's like, oh, okay. So Meredith jumps to her feet and says, I got a gift. And she passes out these gifts to all of the ladies, not just to the person who's saying things to her, to all the ladies. And we find out it's drug tests. I felt like it was something else in there. Was it caviar? Anyways, it was something in drug tests, because y'all know I was, doing this at work. So I'm sitting there like, this is wild. So she says, if she is open about drinking, she doesn't have a problem also being open that she takes an occasional, gummy here and there. But the pill popping and all that stuff, she's not okay with it. If I'm going to be accused of taking drugs, then all of y'all should take drug tests. I said, how did we get here? How did all of them got to take it? The only person who accused you of it is Whitney. So why all of them got to take it? Anyways, this is too much. This is too much. Whitney, stop making these false accusations. So Whitney claims that she'll pull up her skirt and pee on it. I said, oh my goodness. Meredith feels like Whitney's spreading rumors about her. Is it rumors about her? I don't know how you would say it. Y'all tell me what you think, because she only said this to Braun. Wait, no, she said it to, I'm taking it back. She said it to Heather too. She's spreading rumors. She's putting out false claims. It's a rumor. Okay. You don't know it to be true, and you should have had the discussion with her. Whitney doesn't feel like she's spreading rumors. Whitney is over her, piling up on her even more once she takes a rest and thinks about things. And Meredith's like, I can't help that. I think about it and I wake up and I'm still upset, or I've thought about other things. Am I not allowed to do that? So she admits to us that she doesn't know what's going on with Meredith, but because of her experiences with alcoholism, she sees this as a sign. It is fair for you to feel like this may be a sign, but if you really were a friend to Meredith, if you were thinking about Meredith, you should have handled it differently by going to Meredith and not bringing that up on camera. That is a private conversation that you should have had with her. So Whitney, you can't get off the hook for that. Whitney's like, I couldn't tell you anything, Meredith, because you yelled at me. And Meredith's like, I didn't do that. You're a liar. You're a liar. And Mary tells us, she did yell at Whitney. And it's bizarre that she doesn't remember. Mary, I wish you would have said it right there and then in that moment, not in confessional to us. Heather says, you told me if you're friends with her, then you're done. And she's like, no, I didn't. And she's like, yes, you did. Lisa, you said it. You said it too. You said she said it. She said it in the terminal. And Lisa's like, I didn't say that. So Lisa was agreeing to it at first because we get a flashback of it, but she isn't now. Heather says, if you didn't say that, then why did you apologize? And we find out that Meredith sent a text to Heather saying, I am sorry if I snapped at you getting off of the plane. I was very upset and I apologize, which means you snapped at the girl. Come on, Meredith. Heather is mad because Meredith just said they all lie. And for her, that's just too much. She's upset that Meredith is questioning her friendship and her experience, and it gets nowhere. Heather says, you guys have this ability of saying what you think is the truth. And if we don't get in line, we're liars or we're crazy, and it's not fair. Of course, Elisa jumps in then. She's like, look, what I need from you, Meredith, is I need you to own it and apologize. And Meredith is not about to do that. She's going to stick to her story. I really want some footage to come out about this. So they move on. Brawling does a costume change. She comes back out wearing a part of the Constitution and says that they should have some new amendments. So Brawling says families off limits. Somebody says be a woman of your word. I think Lisa said be the friend you expect others to be. Mary says hear each other and forgive. We hear business, marriages, and children need to be off limits. I think that was Angie. Meredith says, stop the reactive abuse. And everybody's like, oh, God. The look on their faces says it all. They do a cheers. And next week is going to be more issues. Overall, I feel like some of this was giving a little bit of filler, but I still very much so enjoyed the episode. I think that these ladies continue to deliver and I'm enjoying it. You guys do me a favor, as I said earlier, like the video, and I gotta get back to work. Until next time, peace.